And warmest greetings to you one and all. It's Sunday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for Not Your Normal Sunday Show. He is R. Wayne Steiger of the R. Wayne Steiger channel, the Steiger Perspective radio show, and all kinds of good and deep thoughts. I'm Jeffrey Darty, your humble Christian whistleblower. Welcome to the channel, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. Deep in the heartland, straight to your heart. That's the hope, Wayne. How the heck are you this morning?
Hot, brother. Hot.
Early a.m.
Hot, man. It was been hot last night. It didn't cool off here.
Yeah. Now, I had a guy on the channel last week talking about the flat earth, and he says that, Wayne, the ISS isn't real. So whatever you've been seeing up there, it's not the ISS. I just want to let you know.
Well, there's another thought that all of us are in a constant state of hallucination.
That's a great thought.
So if that's the case, well, then a lot of us are sharing the same hallucination. It's all right.
A lot of us are sharing the same hallucination. And if we all were sharing hallucinations, would they tend to go towards shared hallucinations? And would that make them stronger if they're shared?
Absolutely. I mean, we share colds, right?
We do. And I mean, people don't understand. In order for reality to be a thing, it just means two people have to be in agreement on a specific thing. So you and I could have our own reality.
And no one else could be a part of it.
And if we believe pink gnomes with blue hair are real and we agree on it, guess what? In our world, they're real.
They're real. And besides that, it's a fun place to be. But I don't know, flat earth, round earth, are we in space? Are we outer space? Or I don't know. I don't
know either. A couple people are asking about a video that was removed. It wasn't removed. It was just Rocky and I testing. So the Jesus MK Ultra video is still on the channel. Just that little test thing I took off. It lasted 40 seconds, Wayne. And there must have been 100 people saying, oh my God, where'd it go? I love them. I love all of them. It's just great to be adored, because I'm not used to that, Wayne.
What are you saying? You've been reviled?
Yeah, I'm used to the other end of it.
Well, in hermetics, it teaches that the pendulum always swings back, and
yep.
I think that's true. Well,
speaking of the pendulum swinging back, Wayne, rushing in where angels fear to tread. I was on a podcast the other day with Sam Tripoli. It's called the Tinfoil Hat Podcast. You should check it out. It's amazing. A lot of fun stuff. And he's a stand-up comic, so he got the juices flowing again. So tonight, against all good sense, I'm going back out to open mic and revving up the old comedy gene. I'm going to go do my 5-minute set tonight here in Overland Park, Kansas. So if you want to come out and laugh, either you'll laugh with me or you'll laugh at me, but either way, you'll laugh.
Well, I say break a leg and you'll do well.
It should be fun.
Yeah. And if you're not having fun, then don't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the heck?
That's how it is.
Time to stretch the boundaries again. But I really feel that if you want to grow and advance as a person, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because there's no growth in your comfort zone.
Right arm.
Right arm. And everybody, I think, should try stand up at least once. It's something that you cannot explain it until you're standing in front of a bunch of people that really don't want to laugh, and your job is to make them laugh.
Yeah. That's I like the challenge.
You should try it, Wayne.
Well, back in the day, as a CEO of startups, I made presentations before large groups of investors, venture capitalists. We had to compete. You had to be chosen. And, the largest one I spoke to was over 3,000. It was in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. So I like it, though. And I know you do, too. I mean, you feed off it. It's great energy.
It's a lot of fun. We're doing something on August 15th up in Hastings, Minnesota at the Depot Bar and Grill. Rocky Stucci, Scotty Roberts, myself. It's going to be conspiracy and comedy night, too. So come on out if you're in the Twin Cities area.
Excellent.
Hosted by Gaia, by the way, sponsored by Gaia, the great folks over at Gaia. I'm starting to work with them more and more. So come on out and show your support, and you can get a free 2-week subscription too. I'll give you the details.
There you go, folks. Good
So,
deal.
Wayne, we were talking about something right before we came on.
Yeah, we were. It's very interesting. Sin.
Sin, I don't believe in it.
Well,
And really, even in the Bible, you get this idea of sin. Oh, you're a sinner. All it means, it's an archery term. And I shot an arrow a couple times, but I shoot guns so I can understand. And if you're trying to shoot a target, whether you're using a crossbow, a firearm, an arrow, a bow and arrow, balance is paramount. Balance is key in order for you to be able to hit your target. And the word sin, as defined in the New Testament, just means missing the mark, and it has the intonation of being off balance. You're not balanced, so you're missing the target you're hitting at. It doesn't mean you're a dirty, rotten piece of garbage that is
get down on your knees.
Savior. Exactly.
Yeah, get down on your knees, boy. Well, that's just the point. But if there is no sin, and by the way, in the Gnostic Gospel of Mary, that's exactly what the Christ said.
Yep.
He told Thomas, he said, "What are you so worked up about?" He said, "There is no sin known to man."
Yeah. It's like that Jesus knocking on the door thing. I'm knocking the door, let me in. Why do you want to come in?
Why?
to save you from what I'm going to give you if you don't let me come in.
Yeah. So if we follow the logic, Jeffrey, then no sin means no judgment.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people are ready for that. Even the Awaken crowd group, it's amazing how much they fall. You see, and this destroys the whole.
Away from it.
Exactly. It destroys reincarnation. It destroys karma. And what it says is that are you ready for this? There are merely consequences of an action, but it is not a judgment.
That's right. I mean, there's still the law of cause and effect. There's still the law of attraction.
Bingo.
But here you go, Wayne. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't want to hear, and I get accused of talking bad about people, but you notice I'm not mentioning any names. The reason why a lot of people can't let go of the sin, salvation, savior matrix, the reason why people can't let go of this idea of judgment is because there's still too many people that claim not to be Christians that are still preaching, teaching, presenting in a Christian context. There is no sin. There is no judgment. You got to let that stuff go.
Wouldn't we be, I contend, sir, we would be far more advanced, even as a society, if we got out of this carrot and the stick routine.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
By the way, that's a good routine. I hadn't thought about that one.
That is excellent stuff. Yeah, we just got to realize that we're not born sinful. We got the spark of divinity within. The kingdom of God is inside us, and we don't need salvation, and we don't need their savior. If you don't need their savior, they've got no power and no control over you. But if you still believe you've got to be saved, you're still in the fear and guilt control matrix, and you're still powering it.
I'm so glad we brought this, the synchronicity here, is because, all over on my channel, I just finished the whole teaching on the Talisman of Solomon, the 44 seals. And the thing that I keep hearing is that people are afraid of spirits. And I keep asking them, well, you're going to die. So you're going to go over there and be with the spirits, and you're going to go over there in a spirit of fear. I don't think that's the way to enter in a new realm. Do you?
Why do you think they're afraid of spirits?
That's good. Well, it's because it's been so heavily doctrinated by the main three bigs, I call those the three Abrahamic religions, that you are spirit, but you're not allowed to venture over in the spirits. You have to have an intermediary.
Exactly. And here's the bottom line, folks. I've done a lot of astral work, not so much anymore, but in the past, I've done a lot of work in the spiritual realm. And if you go up there with even a scintilla of fear, thank you, Benjamin Hunt, to be very frank, you're going to get your ass handed to you. You cannot venture into the spiritual realm with anything remotely resembling fear. You got to be a person on a mission. You got to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof. You got to be knowing exactly what you're doing. And if you can't know that, don't do it. But if you go up there with fear, you will be devoured.
we were watching City Slickers, and Curly, the cow, the trail boss, died. And so they're all waiting.
That was Jack Palance, right?
Jack Palance, yeah. And so they got the funeral, and of course, finally the cook, they said, "Well, you knew him," and the cook says, "Lord, we give you Curly. Try not to piss him off."
That's the truth.
And I looked over at Lynn and I said, "Now that's the attitude you have to go over there in and say, bring it on. You want to take me? Bring it on."
You have to know who you are. You have to know what you are, and you have to know what your mission is. And if you don't, you're going to be back here again. That's what reincarnation is, until you figure out who you are, what you are, and what your mission is.
I agree with you 110%.
You remember the old Fram oil filter, man? You can pay me now or you can pay me later.
I do.
So just decide, whenever you want to decide who you are and what your mission is, you can get off this wheel. Until then, we'll see you next time. As long as there is a next time. Well, speaking of movies, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
I do not get it. All I've heard about for 6 months was this movie. Oh, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. It's profound, blah, blah, blah. It's this or that. And I watched it last night, and I'm thinking, that's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. Bird Box.
What?
The Bird Box with Sandra Bullock. A lot of our friends saying, watch this movie, Bird Box. I didn't get it.
What was the progenitor of the?
It was about something comes into the world that if you look at it, you go crazy and kill yourself. And the only way to defeat it is to go around blindfolded.
Okay.
That was the movie.
Interesting. And 2 hours you won't get back, huh?
That's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
Okay. So was
Somebody
the device
said it was
alien?
The Turd Box. I agree. It was the Turd Box.
The Turd Box.
And another one that I just watched, I don't watch many movies, obviously, but you got to watch this. The latest Avengers movie. Oh,
Ultron?
Terrible. Yeah, End of Days or whatever.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Just Age of Ultron. I don't know what it was. It was terrible. And I didn't see anything in it particularly profound either.
Yeah, Hollywood these days just, I mean, when they're going to make a remake of Top Gun, come on.
Oh, wait a minute now, Wayne. You're not talking bad about Tom Cruise, are you?
No, I'm talking about Kelly McGillis.
Oh, yeah. She's not in the movie. And she got all upset.
Have you seen her?
She's not in the movie.
I'm
all upset I'm not in the movie. Well, sorry, Kelly.
She hasn't done a lot
in the movie.
Well, she would have to get into a serious revitalization routine.
Hey, and let's say this. When they announced a couple years ago they were going to make Top Gun 2, Val Kilmer was not in good shape. Val Kilmer was in Kelly McGillis territory. Let's just say it. But what did Val Kilmer do? Instead of bitching and crying and moaning and me tooing about how come I don't get to be in the movie, what did he do? He got himself in shape. And guess who's in the movie? Val Kilmer.
Well, if you're going to be next to Tom Cruise, I mean, buddy, you better be in ultimate shape.
Well, I mean, at least.
What was it, the thing that y'all called what's the thing for the guy the one you were with before? The body stuff.
Oh, yeah, optimization.
Thank you. That was the word I'm looking for.
And then neither one of us are in perfect shape. And we're not saying that people that aren't in perfect shape are bad people, but don't complain if you don't get invited to a movie because you're way out of shape. It's just reality, man. It's not because you're a woman or because they hate you. It's because you're fat. Sometimes we're fat. We don't get to do things that super skinny people do. Deal with it.
I was a runner, and so I lift weights, and it's like,
I don't get invited to bodybuilding contests. There's a reason why.
There's a reason.
It's not because it's prejudice. It's because I'm fat.
You are not fat, Jeffrey.
I own it.
Yeah, no, that ain't true. Spiritual realm, real or not?
I say it's real.
Been reading
what is it is the question.
I'll send you this paper from Harvard. They study this. In fact, I'm finding out all the major universities are deeply invested in parapsychology.
Mm-hmm.
And the debate is there evidence to support the existence of a spiritual realm? And I just recently read a professor who wrote on this that up until recently, until all the cameras have been put around the world where we virtually now have an eye on everything, there was very little support outside religions or other ideologies of such. But
it makes me laugh, Wayne. I just got I guess it was a message on the channel this morning. I check them every day, several times, and it says, how can you be so against Jesus and God? The Bible is full of proof of them. And I wanted to write back, yeah, and Walt Disney World is full of proof of Mickey Mouse, but I didn't. If you can only prove a thing by its own sources, that's not proof of a thing.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about the Abrahamic God. I mean,
Yeah.
All right, so where was he over in Samaria? Hey, Eniel. Hey, it's me, Yahweh,
Yeah, they stole it. They stole it.
They did. It's like, hey, come on. No. So it's the debate on that. And so when you start getting into the area of magic, witchcraft, paganism, you start invoking, studying what I am really surprised about is the Old Testament. It's full of magic. It's full of spiritualism.
It is. And a lot of it's what we would term dark magic.
Very dark. Talking about not treading where angels dare to go. I mean, yeah.
It's no wonder. I mean, you can see what the religion is all about. It is a fear and guilt control matrix. And it's you talk about walk softly, carry a big stick. He didn't even walk softly. He just had the big stick and hit everybody that decided to, anybody that got out of what he thought was in line, he whacked him with it.
Yeah. When I've been reading about Solomon, and then I see it how it's spread literally all around the world. I mean, in the Eastern religions, the Aborigines, the Mesoamericans. And then I've been thinking about this cat that they stole the name, whatever the name is, the Jesus guy. In their book of Mark, that book, when you look at it in a certain way, that's a very heavily influencing, how should we say, opening a portal. All it talks about is the demonic possession of these spirits feeding off of humans.
Right.
And it requires somehow an incantation to remove them. The implications of if that's even 1% possible, we got a problem here, right here in River City.
We do. We do. Now, do you agree that there are non-corporeal entities that do feed on humans?
I've met them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll share a story. When I was involved with Kenneth Copeland, we would do street ministries. My wife, who's since passed, my ex-wife, we were in prison ministry. We would go to prisons and preach.
I still can't believe you never got right on a jet, Wayne.
Yeah. Paid for it. Damn it. Jeff, I love that. But any case, so we were walking out one day and this cat came up and there were a lot inside that body is all I can say. I look back
on a dude.
A dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He actually was trying to draw a sigil on the palm of our hands. And,
really?
Yeah, it was and I don't know, I saw at least 3 or 4 different personalities speaking at the same time. That's weird.
Wayne, I was just thinking when we used to do, when we pray for people, do the sign of the cross on their head, was that putting a sigil on them?
Yes, it was.
Yep.
And then, odd that you say that, Jeffrey, because the Ash Wednesday thing.
Ooh, that's a sigil.
And I'm thinking, whoa, people. And the thing about it is they're using ash. Now, ash is in ritual magic, depending on what you're using it for, can have very powerful, and this one's always black.
Yep.
Ash is always black.
And what about the Hindis with those dots? Are those sigils?
Yes, it's a circle filled in. Yeah.
Interesting. So they're marking you.
And I look at it today,
Now, Tracy says that when Jesus wrote in the dirt, she thinks he made a sigil.
I would agree with that.
I think he wrote, because you remember the story, this woman is caught in adultery and they want to stone her. I was always wondering if he wrote, "Meet me behind the manger in 20 minutes." But maybe not.
Okay.
Because she must have been cute, Wayne, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they were his, in the Gospel of Mary, of all things, they were his constant three companions.
Yeah.
The three Marys.
It's good to be the Jesus.
It is. I mean, we can take this, but the point is, I think it was a sigil. I think that's exactly what it was. If the Jewish people brought to us Solomonic magic talismans, then this stuff is spread out through the whole world. And what I found out, you don't have to invoke the name of the Jewish deity. You can actually invoke your own name.
Absolutely.
That's what came to me when I was actually sitting in this circle. That thought came because I don't like the Jewish God. You don't like the Jewish God.
No. In fact, I was speaking at this conference, and Lon Milo Duquette, one of the foremost American Hermeticists, was there. And I went up to him and asked him that very thing. I said, doing some ritual work, lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram and whatnot. And I said, I don't like the name of Yahweh. I don't like that God. What do I do? He says, just don't use it. And he freaked me out. I'm like, really? He goes, it's your ritual. I said, yeah, it is. He goes, so don't use it. I'm like, okay, great.
It seems that if I've got this right, us humans, we got this remarkable that we're even above the demons and the angels.
We are. Somebody, for some reason, they're talking about Johnny Cash in the chat room.
How?
I don't know. But interestingly enough, I met Johnny Cash in the Piggly Wiggly in Henderson, Tennessee.
No kidding.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Cash. Good morning, boys. And that was it. But it was Johnny Cash doing his shopping. And as I sit here, he had some Jimmy Dean whole pork sausage in his cart. That's the one thing I remember.
You may tell you what I think about Jimmy Dean.
What about Jimmy Dean?
This proves to me there is an afterlife.
Why?
Because Jimmy Dean is selling his products from the grave.
He is, isn't he?
He is. He literally is. Watch the commercials.
Yep.
Hello, this is Jimmy Dean. I can't tell you what a good breath this can be without a, and I'm going, what? The guy's been dead for how long?
Well, it's now a proven fact that Elvis and Michael Jackson have sold more records since they died than they did when they were alive.
And I'm sure they're spending the residuals over there.
I don't know, man. Interesting stuff.
But that shows you how a culture we are. We accept that in advertising because, well, they don't think about it. But you're actually being sold something from a spirit.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy Dean with pancakes. You let a little bit of the syrup get on the sausage. That's good stuff. It really is.
And so it gets back to this whole point then. If we're going to be over there, my attitude is this, Jeffrey. It's time for us to start understanding how it works.
Angie didn't even know Jimmy Dean was dead. That's how powerful it is.
Wow. Well, thank you for being honest, Angie. I mean,
maybe he's not dead. I guess he's not dead, is he? If his spirit is still out here, he's not dead.
They say if we remember those who have passed over, that they feel it.
Yeah.
So it proves that channeling works.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that channeling?
It is absolutely channeling.
Unless I'm wrong, but that's how it works, I think. And that's what I'm looking to explore. So I'm starting to get really into this, Jeffrey. I'm really wanting to find out. I'm not afraid of any spirit. I grew up in a state home, and I know how to deal with bullies. And,
There you go.
you know, they can knock me down, but I'm going to get back up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I shall quote, how shall we say, Doc Holliday, I'm your huckleberry.
Exactly. So a lot of people didn't know Jimmy Dean was dead. Yeah, he's been dead a long, long time.
So that tells us something right there, doesn't it?
It does.
It really shows us something. And maybe the Democratic candidate, maybe the one who appears to be awake, maybe she's doing something more than what most recognize.
Yeah, I didn't even know that she was running, but she's talking about, what was she talking about?
Dark psychic forces.
Dark psychic forces. That's interesting.
And she's used another one here recently as well. Spell. She used the word spell.
Elvis died in 1977.
I remember that.
Wow. Yeah. So do you think she's really woke?
Yoda. This one, difficult. But it is. I have a tendency to think yes.
Really?
Yes. I now you can be awoke and still have an agenda.
Yeah, I haven't even paid any attention to her. I just saw that one thing.
If we can get over the virus, the hate virus, and find some people that can get awake and really focus in on it. Listen, I think what happened yesterday, what's happened, we're seeing this more and more. I think we have to be, this is for myself, I think we have to be able to invoke the spirit realm, because it certainly seems someone's opened the door somewhere.
It's interesting stuff, that's for sure. It's interesting stuff. So, Wayne, what do you think about this concept that probably most of the people in this channel believe? Tracy Dyer says that ladies in Oprah's coven. I agree.
Way to go, Tracy.
Yeah, because that's one. I don't know. But do you pick all of your life and all of your struggles and stuff? Do you pick it and agree to it before you come here?
I don't know.
Me either.
Listen, none of us are, I haven't met anyone who's gone through life with a golden spoon in their mouth. I mean, everyone takes it in the shorts. Some of us take it more. I'm going to say this, and I really do believe this. I believe that I am a God. I believe that you are a God. I believe that, in fact, all of humanity is a God. I think that this is the problem that we have.
I concur.
Gods hate to be bored. And how can you perfect a God who's already perfected, even if they're imperfect? So that would lend credence that maybe we did. Because you know what? I'm just a son of a bitch enough that someone could put me up to a dare that I would be willing to put 80 years into it just to show them that I could do it.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
And you are too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, don't tell me that you wouldn't back down if someone just got up in your face.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree that we're back here by choice. Again, I think it's coming back until you figure out who you are, what you are, and what your mission is. And I'm not, maybe some of our mission is to come back and do this again. I don't know. But I have a hard time believing that I picked everything here. I mean, if I picked it all, then how am I supposed to learn from it? Because I've already picked it. How many things did you really learn from that you picked? Some, but don't you really learn from the things from the wild cards and the curveballs that come into your life?
That leads to the next thought. Then can a God actually see the future? Why would a God?
A fully manifested God could probably see the future.
But then why would it want to exist?
Maybe that's, there's a great quote, especially in the new Hannibal series. It's kind of old now, but the series they made on TV. And one of the reasons why, they keep asking Hannibal Lecter, why did you do this horrible thing? Why did you do this thing? And he just would simply say, I was curious to see what would happen. And maybe that's what really drives true divinity. Why is a true God even worrying about all of this? They're curious to see what would happen.
See, that alone right there has more solid foundation to build upon than the other.
I agree.
Because if you're going to give me a book called Revelation,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to tell me that it's a book of the future, then why the hell are we playing the game?
I think it's a book of the past, actually, Wayne, but that's another story.
I think you are right. But
I mean, why am I doing comedy tonight?
Well, you have no idea what the outcome is.
What would happen?
Yeah.
Why do you go up and ask a girl or a boy out? Because you're curious to see what would happen. Why do you start a business? Why do you start a new venture? Because you're curious to see what would happen. Curiosity is probably the fuel that drives all great human action.
It may be the single power behind it.
It might be. And what are children above all else? Curious.
Curious.
Be like a little child if you want to discover the kingdom. Be curious. Wonder. Ask questions. I wonder what. I wonder what if. I wonder what if. I wonder how. That really is, the more curious you are, the more alive you are. I like that.
That is great, by the way. I like that. You know,
what does the world tell us? What does the powers that be tell us, Wayne? Oh, remember, curiosity killed the cat. They don't want us to be curious.
Pandora's box.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Oh, I mean, come on.
Wow.
But isn't it odd? Anyway, I digress on that. All right. So then that kind of lends to its next point in the spirit realm. They're seeing this unfolding as well. Maybe that's why they immerse themselves in this whole timeline, this whole 4D reality that we have.
Yeah. But
I like the fact that I don't think we can see the future. I think we're here to say, all right, let the dice roll and let's see what happens.
And this sounds weird, but I did for a while remote viewing about the NFL season to pick the games against the point spread. And I found out that the closer to the game time that you make your picks, the more accurate you are, because I think the future's always changing. So you can't ever really know the future because it is constantly in flux, in my opinion.
The looking glass device.
It's changing.
So, you know, they say at S4 that they have the looking glass device, that alien technology. It can see the future, but here's the thing. It's unlimited in the possibilities.
Yeah, which future is it seeing?
It's seeing them all, and that's the interesting course, that if you could pick out a particular path of the future, could you manipulate it?
That's interesting. That's like the Man in the High Castle show on, I forget which channel that's on. That's very interesting. It's about the same thing. The premise is that, you know, Nazis won the war, Japan won the war, and it's the world as it would have been then. But the Nazis discover a device to go back into and to change, go back in the past and the future and change things. And they're trying to keep everybody from finding out about this device. And they actually find movies of where they lost the war. So again, that's, to me, if there's soft disclosure, that stuff is like soft disclosure. It
kind of goes with the thought that we actually coexist in multiple dimensions at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. And there probably is a reality right now where Nazi Germany and Japan won the Second World War and are living under that reality.
Yeah.
So could we figure a way, if we wanted to go into those dimensionalities?
Again, I think we're doing this because of the experience.
Yeah. If you could, Wayne, if you could pop into that other reality for a while, would you, to see what it was like?
Sure. Yeah.
Would you be afraid you couldn't get back?
Well, I've made decisions that I realized that once I made them, I wasn't going back. So I wouldn't be bothered by that. It to me, it's kind of like death. I know that it's coming, and it used to scare the crap out of me, the whole concept. Now I embrace it. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, and people in the chat room are saying maybe Germany really did win, and we are the Fourth Reich. There's a lot of data to support that thought. If
you believe in the micronova theory of a solar flash, that it's very possible that we could be living in any number of different realities with our minds being wiped.
Yeah.
It's proven, now with the devices. On my Steiger Perspective, I talked at length about this. I believe, Jeffrey, we are in the middle of the evolutional transitional point. And I think we've crossed that point. I think we are now in full bloom transhumanism. And I think a path has been chosen. And people like you and I, folks in the chat room watching this, I don't think we're part of that future.
Does that explain deja vu?
I think yeah, it may. The Matrix says that it's a glitch in the system.
Robert, USN vet, says the Nazis never left. They came to the U.S. and are still here. And that's, I mean, Project Paperclip shows that is literally true.
And Operation High Jump, the Philadelphia experiment, a lot of this co-enacting at the same time. If Byrd, and if it's true, and I don't know, they say it's, I think someone said it's not. The battle he had down there in Antarctica, the Nazis were there already, that they had made a deal, that the crafts that came up out of the water that were attacking the U.S. flotilla had the swastika on it. So what is
the data on that? Is there data that says that happened?
Yeah, there is.
Are there records? Are there documentation?
Yes, it's called Operation High Jump.
Right, but I mean, do we know that it actually happened?
Yeah, I have. I've never done the video. I've done the storyboard. Yeah, there are actually communications from the Pentagon to Byrd there. They did engage a battle, but...
And weren't a lot of lives and materiel lost?
Over 5,000, they say.
And he lost ships and...
Yes, yeah.
And no one wants to talk about the fact that the U.S. Navy got its butt handed to it down in Antarctica, and all of a sudden there's a treaty that still has 40, or that goes until 2040 before it can even be renegotiated again.
I keep
agreed
on
to
asking.
by 57 nations.
Yeah, I mean, what was Kerry doing down there? And if you're telling me that, that was unbeknownst maybe to the Trump organization, I don't know, but I'm sure that the Obama administration had communicated, obviously, a hope to the Clintons what was going on. There was a worldwide summit, and people, Jeffrey, most of them don't even know that it happened.
Here's something I've never heard before. Again, Robert USN vet, third generation, says the Japanese did not surrender. A deal was cut to rebuild Japan.
Boy,
in exchange for the Marshall Plan. And we did. Remember, it's so much so that there was somebody says that Jim Morrison's dad was on that mission with Byrd. I don't think that was true, because Jim Morrison's dad was an admiral in the Gulf of Tonkin incident. He couldn't have been with Byrd and at Gulf of Tonkin. I don't think the years would add up. He'd be too old. So I would double check your sources on that one. But there was a movie made up about a little backwater country that wanted to get into a war with the U.S. so the U.S. would rebuild them.
Yeah. I was in the video post-production industry for a long time. Japan had HD back in the 40s.
Wait a minute, Wayne. Japan had HD back in the 40s?
Yes, sir. Check me out on that. You know why? High definition was a military broadband. Did not get to the point we began to see it in the post industry. NAB, we saw the first HD cameras coming out. Now, I'm right, am I not?
I'm checking something else while you're talking.
Yeah. So, the Japanese have had high definition for a long time. And that was really the big problem when we did the conversion. We were in NTSC here, and all the rest of the country were in higher density broadband.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's no way Admiral Byrd thing was 1947. The Gulf of Tonkin happened in 64, 57. I don't think Admiral Byrd could have been at both places. And certainly not Admiral Morrison couldn't have been at both places.
Yeah.
So you might want to check your sources on that one.
Well, it's something's going on. I mean, they're seeing these contrails that are now going from North Pole to South Pole. I don't know what that's about. I mean,
Did Germany have TV in the 30s?
Germany? Yeah, they had television. Yeah.
Did we have TV in the 30s?
Mm-hmm.
When did it start?
I think the first kinescopes was about 31, 32.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, because I don't. There's no way that. And a couple people saying, "Oh, yes, he was," but how can you be? There's 25 years difference between those dates.
Yeah, he would be an old man by the time.
Yeah, and I mean, even if he was 18 when he was with Admiral Byrd, I don't know. I have to read that. I'll have to look into that more. I don't think that could be true.
I did not see his name in any of the documents I had in.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But interesting nonetheless.
Well, something happened down there. It was no doubt about it. I have Operation High Jump right here. I'll send you my file if you want to look at it. I got the CIA documents.
Love to see that.
Yeah. In fact, I'll show you, Jeff. I'll send
Sterling
you.
from Japan says that TV was started as a medium to talk to the spirit world.
See,
a
here's
lot
the
of
file.
interesting thoughts here.
This is the file I'll send you, Jeff. Can you see that?
I don't see it yet.
Oh.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. I see it.
Yeah. These are the UFOs they actually captured, the ones that were attacking.
Did they capture them?
Well, no, I misspoke on that. And they captured it on film.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually captured the attacks. And so I'll send this file to you.
Interesting. Was this the attacks on Bird's fleet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
I'm trying to pull one up right now.
Gary
This
Baxter says they broke on through to the other side.
I love you, Gary.
Yeah.
So this is the one that I always found most interesting. Can you see it?
Not yet. And here's somebody. All these facts that get thrown out, supposed facts. Let's check them. Admiral Byrd's brother owned the Texas School Book Depository.
I don't know about that.
Let's check that out. Oh wow, and that's supposedly a legit photo.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
Look at that. That's in Antarctica. That's definitely a flying saucer.
Yep. And
it looks very much like the German.
It does, doesn't it? It looks very much like.
I forget what they called those.
Well, they had 3 of them. We know that.
And up on the top, they had turrets on them.
Yeah.
Machine gun turrets.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'll send you the file, my friend.
How about that? Of course, someone can argue that was Photoshop, but
but you know, the whole world's Photoshopped,
isn't it? I mean, now they can make videos of you saying and doing things you never said or did.
Yeah.
What are those called? Deep fakes. And think about that, Wayne. It's called deep fake video. Do you think it's any coincidence that it sounds a lot like Deep State?
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know, Jeffrey, if I turn on your channel and I find you that you've come back and you're saying that all this thing is you need to get on your knees and rag them. That ain't him.
That ain't me. Him. Don't believe it. Don't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't me.
I'm calling the cops in your area and telling them to go do a welfare check on you.
If you ever see a video where I say, "Forgive me, Lord, I have sinned against you, my God," don't believe it. It ain't me.
Is Jimmy being channeled here?
It ain't me. Don't believe me.
I swear I heard Jimmy Swaggart. I swear I heard.
It ain't me.
It's like, oh, God speaks like Jimmy Swaggart.
Yep, it ain't me. Wow.
I just want to put it out there on the record for you.
Wow, what a day. That was one of the biggest days in my life, Wayne. One of the most. I realized then that you can't trust a man. A man will fail you.
Every time.
4th member of the Trinity fell that day.
The 4th one, I like that. The 4th one.
Yeah, I can remember the day when if you could quote Jimmy Swaggart, that was as good as quoting the New Testament. If Jimmy believed what you were saying, that was good as scripture, man.
Oh, better.
Yeah.
Absolutely better.
What a world we lived in, ladies and gentlemen.
It's getting stranger. I think that, I don't know. I think that things are going to be getting. Remember in Ghostbusters where
never saw it.
You never saw the.
Never saw it.
Go back and watch it. You'll find it interesting because a lot of what we're talking about, Zool, and what they're finding,
thank you, James,
it's all magic.
Really?
Yeah, check it out. Anyway, there is this portal that opens up over New York City, and this is what opens this up. After I've been studying this, I am convinced that there are portals everywhere.
Well, and if there aren't, couldn't they be created rather easily?
They can be.
Oh, Wayne, tragedy, another shooting, this time in Ohio.
You see, something's going on. People.
Yeah, and just happens to be as we're getting to the re-election period. Come on, folks. Start thinking about what's actually happening and when it's happening.
I know that they call it conspiratorial thinking, but I'm telling you, something's happening. There's a control going on here. People,
there is.
And these shooters. I told Lynn, I said, something's not right here. I mean, when you come in, you saw the gun that he used, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm saying to myself, you have a dude walking purposely.
Yeah.
Something's wrong there. I mean,
tell me what you mean, Wayne.
All right. If you're going to commit mass murder,
right,
you have literally connected into something that is no longer what I call of this particular dimension.
Right.
And, I know people won't believe this, but I contend that young dude, however it was, he invited something in.
Mm-hmm. Or was he like this
control?
Voice to skull control?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. The same thing that happened in the shooting in Texas at the Baptist church.
Yeah.
That was a clear case. I knew a cop that was on that, and he said, I'm telling you, he said, that is not the dude that did the shooting.
And he had, somebody said he wore headgear. He actually had on his ear protectors for firing a weapon, and he had his shooter's glasses on.
He did.
It's about getting the guns, about censorship. Here's the thing I ask, Wayne. Let's say that, he walked into a Walmart, and, every Walmart looks the same. If you can walk into Walmart, and usually the bathrooms are over here, and the customer service is over there. Let's just say I was coming from the bathroom or the customer service, walking down that long, wall that's always there in the front of a Walmart, and he walked past me with that gun as it was, finger on the trigger, his headgear on, his glasses. Let's say that I was concealed carrying, because I do, and I drew my weapon seeing him like that, and I dropped him. Before he fired a shot, they come and see he has all this ammo. Would I go to jail?
In Texas, yes.
So you got to wait for a fool to kill somebody before you can shoot him. Whereas if I would have shot him and killed him, he's got hundreds of rounds of ammo on him. He's walked into Walmart with shooting glasses on, the safety off on his rifle, his finger on the trigger, and I stopped him from killing people. They would want to put me in jail. I contend, Wayne, that they might put me there, but they couldn't keep me there because the public outcry would be so. I think the president would say, get him out of jail.
I think you may get a free pass on that one. I agree with you. And he had one of the banana clips, which are illegal in most states.
Yeah. I mean, it was a big clip.
Yeah.
Who knows how many he had in his pockets?
Well, here's my solution to it.
I don't care if I walk into Walmart and that happens. Cousin center mass, he's going down. We'll take the results as they come.
When I was still going to church, I was one of the guys designated, because I have my CC, and it's I wouldn't have hesitated dropping anybody. If they come through the door, I wouldn't think twice about it.
And the guy that I took my concealed carry license class from, he actually talked about that way, and he worries about it. He goes to a large church here in town, and he says there's one guy there, and it's a no gun. They got the no guns posted on the church, and he says I carry mine in past that sign every time. And because I know the guy, there's one guy who's the security guard there who's loaded, and he works here. I know he can't shoot.
Hey, that's a problem.
So he carries his weapon into church.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I would have put my weapon down before the SWAT got there, obviously.
Yeah. The real solution to this is open carry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why it shocked me that it happened in Texas, but it happened in El Paso, which has got huge immigration issues. It happened in El Paso, which is arguably the most liberal city in Texas. You notice he didn't go to, he's from Dallas, but
Yeah,
he didn't go to the Walmart in
still
Dallas.
there.
He drove to El Paso because he knew if he'd have gone into the Walmart in Dallas, he wouldn't have made it 2 aisles before he'd have been filled with holes like Swiss cheese.
I don't know. I kind of remember that movie, a Mel Brooks movie, where everyone says, "Who's got a gun?" And yeah, he goes.
Tracy says it was a gun-free zone.
Ah, gun free. I don't understand
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, if you're here, let me just say this, and this isn't a political show, but if you walk into a place and be reasonable, don't do it at the post office or a government building. But if you walk into like Walmart, it has a sign "No Guns" on it, and it's got to be posted eye level. It's got to be prominent. But let's say it is Sanctuary City, El Paso. If you walk in with your concealed carry weapon on you, all that can happen is if they see that you have it, they can ask you to leave, and you must leave when they ask you. Carry your weapons past those signs unless you're going to a federal building. That's my advice, but that's just my advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on YouTube. That's just my personal advice.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Listen, I think everyone should be well versed in how to protect yourself.
All I'm saying is they never had one mass shooting in Tombstone.
Never did.
Never did, because there was a lot of huckleberries there.
Yesterday, when we were out and about, we saw 3 incidences of aggressive driving where literally they almost caused wrecks. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good reason. I think that everyone should have one, but that's just me.
Absolutely. I mean, the opposite has not worked. Let's take away all the guns. Well, guess what? No matter how many guns you take away, bad guys are still going to have guns.
The Japanese.
Let's try the opposite. How about everybody's got one, so the good guys are locked and loaded too, and let's see how brave the bad guys are when they know all the good guys got guns and know how to use them.
The Japanese.
You don't see these people going in and shooting up a gun store, do you? You don't see these people going in and shooting up a firing range, do you? Because they're not stupid. They may be crazy, but they're not stupid.
So that's why the Japanese never invaded us. That's why the Germans never invaded us. Even today, the Russians realize that the problem is there's too many Americans that have guns.
Yeah.
And, right now, Australia is stripping their citizens of all their guns. I have been reading that the underground in Australia, that there is a revolt going on.
Well, one of the first acts of the National Socialist Party of Germany when they took power was to take people's weapons away.
It's the first thing they do in socialism, first thing they do in communism. So make your choice, folks.
Yep.
All I know is this: they'll never take it from my hand.
No, like Charlton Heston was famous for saying, "From my cold, dead fingers."
Or I'll use this one: "Get your hands off me, you ape."
Yeah, exactly. Charlton Heston again.
I think that we've lost all common sense in this country.
Emerald Eagle says, "I've got an NRA sign in my front yard. No one's ever broken in."
Yeah, that's all I got to say is yeah.
And then Vince Proctor says, "America must disarm." Okay,
Why?
comrade. Hi.
Why?
No, thanks, Vince.
You know what, Vince? Not one person in my neighborhood has died. Not one person has been threatened. And do you know how many people own guns in this neighborhood? Probably why we don't have any problem in this neighborhood.
Yep.
Because here in Colorado, we can shoot your ass. If you come in the door, that's it, brother.
Yeah. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, if you're someone like Cynthia and I, we went to the class, we've got our concealed carry permit, and we've been through all the training. We know how to shoot. We know how to shoot accurately. And we are the last people that would ever shoot because we know the responsibility We know the enormity of it. We would never, ever, you're not going to see us taking our gun out and waving it around because we're jerks. But we are the last people that would ever pull out our gun to use it. But we are the last people you ever want to meet if you intend to do harm to us or other innocent lives. I'll just leave it at that.
And don't screw with my wife. She's a better shot than I am.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the way it is. And, you know, that's how the West was. That's how it's always been. And, you know, I knew.
And, you know, Vince, if Vince is in Walmart and he knows I'm concealed carry, guess who Vince is running to? He's running to me for some help. So, okay, Vince, I got you. And I bet you'll learn to shoot after that. I wonder how many people that were in Walmart are going to be learning how to shoot now.
Well, I mean, good God. I mean, and Walmart's been in the movie. You've got people who urinate on the vegetables that now open ice cream, spit in it, lick it. And I'm going, what is going on with people?
What is with this world? People are just flat nuts.
And this is women. A woman did that. Pulled her pants down right there in the fresh produce. And I'm thinking to myself, what's happening? And now apparently it's a trend amongst the teenagers to be doing this.
Craziness.
I mean,
craziness.
When do we lose it, Jeffrey? I want to know. When do we lose it?
Craziness. I don't understand people. I really don't.
I don't either. I mean, because now I'm looking at the fresh produce and I'm going, if it's wet, I don't want to even get near it.
Yeah, forget that. Forget that.
Someone wrote, Cynthia, that's true. We live in Jerry Springer's reality. I think that is exactly what we live in because it's gotten crazy. Literally nuts.
Remember back in the 80s, they poisoned the Tylenol or said they did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I don't know if they did or not.
That brings back way back. That's when the trade towers were still up.
It is. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know.
You know what it is?
We haven't found it yet.
We haven't. I contend if we would just teach people that they were gods, that, you know, listen, you don't understand. You're here to experience this thing called life.
Yeah. And, you know, we're thinking about guns, right? And these mass shootings keep happening. And we keep saying, take our guns away. And they keep happening. But if the opposite happened, let's arm our citizenry responsibly, educated. How about if a presidential candidate came out and said, we're going to pass a tax deduction for every person, $500 for you to purchase and be trained in a firearm. If you send in the paperwork, you can take $500 off of your taxes. That's the answer right there. Things would change in a year. You wouldn't see these mass shootings anymore. You'd see mass shootings of dumbasses walking into Walmart with rifles is what you'd see.
Well, look at Israel. Every citizen has to have.
There you go. They don't have any mass shootings in Israel.
They don't. That's because everyone in the cafe is carrying an automatic weapon.
Exactly. And you walk into Israel and you want to say Allah, Allahu Akbar, you can't get past Allah before you're drilled.
You're going to be dropped. I mean, but that's our point, is that there's an armed society. They have a very peaceful, very low murder rate. Yeah. Maybe
there's a correlation there, Wayne.
Maybe Tombstone had it right. If we could just bring Wyatt back.
Yeah. In Kansas, you have open carry in Kansas. You can walk around with a 6-shooter on your hip just like you're in Tombstone.
Good place, Kansas.
Yeah, I like
it. They need to do a little tree planting, but that's okay.
Oh boy.
It's a good spot.
And
has it been hot down there for you?
It's been real hot.
Yeah, it sucks. Well, I think you're going to have a fun time this winter.
But I had a fun time last winter.
Yeah.
Cindy says, not everyone I meet should carry. That's a good point.
Well, I keep on saying they need to do competency tests for politicians as well. So I agree with
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
There definitely has to be a competency test.
Well, that's why to get a conceal and carry, you have to go through the classes, you have to take the test, then you have to. Yeah. It's not easy.
And Wayne, it was an 8-hour class
Mhm.
and a test that wasn't super easy. Somebody says, "You guys want the Wild Wild West? This is right now. We're in the wild. No, in the Wild Wild West, everybody had a handgun. This ain't
Everybody.
the Wild Wild West. That's why." And well, everybody was killing each other in the Wild Wild West. No, they weren't. Do you know how many people that these great gunfighters killed? Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. None of them killed more than verified 5, 7, 9, 12 people. None of them killed a lot of people because you didn't have to. You outdraw 4 or 5 people, and people are like, "Oh shit, I know better than to get in a gunfight with him."
Well, look what happened during Prohibition.
Yeah, how many fights did Arnold Schwarzenegger get into when he was walking around like this? Very few.
Yeah. I mean, the solution to the drug problem is to legalize it. Take the incentive, the profit out of it. And the same thing, I mean, that was the whole thing with Capone when he took over Chicago. The citizens didn't have guns. It was just the bad guys.
They still don't, and that's why it's the most crime-ridden. Look at the most crime-ridden places, and here again, Baltimore,
Chicago,
the district, Chicago, gun-free zones, boom.
Yeah.
And they're the most full of murder because it's a 5-year-old can figure this out. Well, if the bad guys have guns and they're killing a bunch of good guys, what if the good guys had guns? Problem solved.
You know what?
Here's one of the great quotes on this show ever. James Sheets, if you remember Tombstone, where Curly Bill, played by Powers Booth, calls out to Wyatt, "Hey, Wyatt, got you all caught in a little crossfire."
Yes, but I like the other thing. What the other guy said, "Where's Wyatt? Walking on water, probably."
Yeah, that's when Wyatt went out there and just said no and started killing fools.
I mean,
and then after it's over, they go, "Where's Wyatt?" And Doc Holliday says, "He's down by the creek, walking on water."
No doubt. I know, and I know
even
we said
Curly Bill had to say, "Wow, will you look at that?"
We've got to realize, folks, we can't be killing each other. There's a problem, and it isn't religion. It's deeper than that.
But you know what, Wayne? Religion caused the problem.
It did.
And all these people that want to try to be, we're not Christian, but we're going to keep Christ. We're going to keep the cross. We're going to keep salvation. We're going to keep Savior. You can't have it both ways. If you try to be, we're not Christian, but we still believe in the cross. We believe in salvation. We believe in Savior. You're still a Christian. You're still part of the fear and guilt control matrix, and you're still keeping people bound. You got to get free of all of the sigils of Christianity, or you're still a captive.
Boy, isn't that the fact? Oh, man.
I'm not afraid of those that say they are Jews but are not. I'm afraid of those that say they are not Christians but are.
Mm-hmm.
And their sigils that they want to still keep us free. If I'm going to be free, I want to be free indeed. Cut the cord, ladies and gentlemen.
I told people this, the 10 Commandments, they're not for the world. It was for a specific little group.
Yep.
We need to write as Homo sapiens what it is that we see. But that's another
divine,
show. We're
sovereign and we're free.
We are, sir. Absolutely. We've got to get that reality.
Tracy Dyer says, "Chop down that cross." Boom. It's time for the axe to be laid at the root of the cross. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross until the Christian whistleblower chopped that sucker down.
And made barbecue with it.
And used it for s'mores. Absolutely. We could cook some Jimmy Dean pure pork sausage on the fire of the cross, on the wood of the cross.
We'd probably hear from him too.
We probably would.
I mean, he's got to be laughing over there. It's like, guys, I mean, I can see him going, "This is the best gig of all.
This is it. I love it. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic." Oh.
Yeah. So, Wayne, I think it's pancake time.
It is. And we really went long today. This has been fantastic.
We did, 4 hours long or 4 minutes long.
Oh, well, I could do 4 hours, but
We probably could.
we could. So what you got going on, my friend? I know you have you and Rocky tonight.
Dude, we've got so much stuff coming up. We got the Notcher, or we got to Shut Up and Listen coming up tonight. I've got a TV show coming up that I can't talk about right now. We're going to be going on the Chris Jericho Talk is Jericho podcast. We got another podcast we're going on we can't talk about right now, but things are really starting to grow and move and pop, and we're very, very excited and happy about it. Tomorrow night on The Last Stand, I've got Paladin. If you know anything about the deep state and anything about this looking into Q or not, you know who Paladin is. He's one of the leading political commentators. It is as good as it's been so far, Wayne. We are really, literally just getting started.
I'm happy for you, dude. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
reaching
stand-up
goals.
comedy tonight at Clint's Comedy Stop in Overland Park, Kansas. Check that out. We'll be there at 8 o'clock for a little comedy. And then next week I'm going up to St. Louis to see Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo and their tinfoil hat conspiracy and comedy at the Helium Club in St. Louis. So come check that out.
Excellent. Travel safe.
What's going on with you, Wayne?
Not much, just enjoying. Mostly I'm just getting into teaching now, Jeffrey.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, I just that's my calling, and so I'm going to bring out the hidden knowledge, and those who want it, they can learn. Those who don't, well, that's okay.
Beautiful. That's what we're here for. He's R. Wayne Steiger from the R. Wayne Steiger channel, the Steiger Perspective. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, and you guys are the most important part of this program. Not another Sunday, not your normal Sunday. It's been a great time. Tons of people in the chat, and we know tons more people watching. I hope that they got something to make them think and something to brighten their day, and hopefully we provided that, Wayne.
Hopefully we did. At least we stimulated the coitus of the mind.
Delaney Jones says that you need a Merlin hat, Wayne.
Thank you. I'll share something with you later, but yeah.
Have you given any thought to a beard, Wayne, like those long wizard beards?
I am the most hairless guy in the world. I mean, my wife, I've grown up without shaving for 5 days, and she
and then the cat licks it all off.
It's like, just get that off their face. Anyway,
that's funny. That's funny. Well, Wayne, for Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, and we are the last generation of real humans. Enjoy your Sunday, and folks, let's get busy.